Welcome everyone. Today we're going to draw a line in the sand and determine if you're a bully or a victim. Or perhaps you're someone who is on the line, witnessing the bully or the victim, doing nothing to stop it. Most of you know my wife, Jennifer Weaver, as your teacher. But do any of you know her as my partner as a proponent to stop school bullying for the last 3 years? School bullying exists in schools across America and has many warning signs and effects. It increases suicide attempts, leads to problems as adults, and affects the bullies as well. For the purpose of determining how big the line we're drawing is, let's understand this point. School bullying encompasses every school across America, from the big cities like New York or small-town Iowa like right here in Nashua. According to a Center for Disease Control survey, in 2009, 20% of high school students reported being bullied at school property. That means 1 in every 5 high schoolers are victims of bullying, where they're expected to be every day. Bullying is happening face-to-face with the increase in technology at school through what is called cyberbullying. Cyberbullying done through electronic means like cell phones or the internet. In the same survey done by the CDC, about 4% of students reported being a victim of cyberbullying. To understand bullying, let's define it according to stopbully.gov. Bullying is unwanted, aggressive behavior among school-aged children that involves a real or perceived power imbalance. Now that we know what bullying is and how many children it affects, let's take a look at warning signs and effects. There are many warning signs associated with bullying, and thankfully they don't all include waiting to see bruises, as not all bullying is physical in nature. KidsHealth.org says that parents should look for kids acting differently. Some examples are not wanting to take the bus, asking for extra milk money, or just changes in normal behavior. I can remember seeing an episode of the Andy Griffith Show, and it involved Opie getting bullied on his way to school. Bullying has been an issue for decades, and thankfully for the fictional character, his father found out. But not all bullying is discovered. Parents, teachers, and anyone associated with the child have an obligation to these children to be on the lookout for problems that could be arising from bullying. The effects of bullying can be minor or they can be extreme. Either way, bullying is a damaging experience. Since some of the victims go unheard, it is difficult to get an accurate number on how many children get bullied each year. We see some of the extreme cases as headlines every year. How many children choose to deal with bullying? They make it a personal choice that can affect many people. Sadly, suicide is one of those choices that they make, and their loved ones are left wondering why. Bullying-related suicide is an all too common response that certain victims have, and they seem to feel it's their only way to escape their situation. Suicide is usually not based on bullying alone, but bullying doesn't help an already difficult situation get any better. Members of the middle-aged and high school-aged gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender community are at the highest risk to consider suicide. StopBullying.org said it very well when they said, "Bullying can make an unsupportive situation worse." It is believed that GLBT students are twice as likely to consider suicide as their heterosexual counterparts. More studies would need to be done to substantiate this number. Furthermore, if victims of bullying make it to adulthood, they face additional problems. Children that are victims of bullying have long-lasting effects that follow them into adulthood. A student that is bullied runs a higher risk of dealing with depression and mental health issues as an adult. They move to different areas more often. They are more inclined to participate in chronic behavior like alcohol abuse, tobacco use, and drug abuse. Victims are more likely to allow abusive relationships to continue through adulthood in personal relationships and work environments. Those that were victimized as children tend to be reclusive and exhibit antisocial behavior. In addition to bullying victims, the the bullies themselves are affected throughout adulthood. Bullies continue abusive behavior into adulthood through their dealings with coworkers, family members, and intimate relationships. The students that bully don't always grow up and lose their destructive attitudes. Their goal is to gain power and have control over another person. Unfortunately, some victims turn into bullies as themselves, as adults, to strike back against those that victimize them as children, even though the people they are bullying are not the same individuals that bullied them. They often fall into different categories of bullies, according to bullystatistics.org. The categories are narcissistic, impulsive, physical, verbal, or secondary. Different forms of bullying exist throughout America and have for many years. Look for the warning signs and be prepared to deal with them accordingly, because they're there if you care enough to notice. The effects of bullying are damaging to both victim and bully and continue past the school age years. Whether it's suicide or self-destructive behavior of another nature, the scars that are inflicted are permanent due to bullying. At the beginning of this speech, I told you we're going to draw a line in the sand. Did any of you think of someone on one side or the other? Perhaps someone facing issues? And I want you to do something that's more important than drawing a line in the sand. I want you all to think about your classmates, friends, and family members. Do any of them exhibit signs that might be experiencing bullying? Are they perhaps the ones doing the bullying? Remember, what they are doing or going through right now will affect them for the rest of their lives, and possibly shape who they are as adults. Martin Luther King Jr. might have the words for you to be proactive rather than inactive. He said, "In the end, we will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends." Thank you for listening and agreeing to learning more about bullying.